Hello, welcome back friends. I'm Lori, Happy Picker. I'm glad you're here. And I have 18 things I need to ship out today. Plus I sold another 11 items locally on Facebook Marketplace, and I'll tell you about those in a little bit. It was a good weekend. Some of my sales were from a really great purchase that I'm excited to share with you, and I paid up for it. So today we're going to talk about when it's okay to pay up and how much profit margin do you need to allow for. How much more than you pay should you expect to make on something that sells? We'll talk about it. So I had 7 sales on eBay, and we'll go through those first. But I also had 6 sales on Poshmark this weekend. That's very unusual for me. Poshmark is just a hit and miss thing, especially since I don't sell very many clothes. And I only sold, I think, 1 clothing item. Sold 2 clothing items on Poshmark, and we'll get to those. But let's start with eBay. Okay, I think this is our first thing. So this is some kind of electronic meter, amp meter. I don't really know. But Kyle got this in the lot that he bought in an online auction where he got a whole area of tools and parts and whatnot kinds of things. So we have like 50 cents in this, probably. Not very much because of how much volume we got for the little amount of money we put out. And I just took an offer of $25 on it. I had it listed for more, but I didn't find any exact comps, and so if I don't know exactly what I'm selling, I'll list it a little high and give myself room to come down. So I am happy to take $25 for this. Next up, I have a jacket in here somewhere. I've had it for a while. Where is it? There it is. So we got this jacket, Dodge Viper embroidery, leather sleeves, Letterman style jacket. We got this at a garage sale well over a year ago. I don't know why it took so long to sell. Maybe again, maybe I had too much money on it. But we did sell it for $55, and we only paid $3 for it at the garage sale. So that's a win, even though it took a while. I'm happy with those returns. Next, we have this little oil lamp. Pretty cute. So this came from a estate sale clearance we did in March. So it's been 4 months since I got it. However, I didn't list it until just a couple weeks ago. So it didn't really take all that long to sell after I got it listed. And we have very little in this because there was a lot of stuff in that clear out that we did. So we got quite a few oil lamps, and we don't have more than $1 in any of them, I don't think. So I sold this for $17.50. Not huge money, but like I said, it sold pretty fast after listing, just a couple weeks, and I'm happy. All right, back down in here. There they are. These are Weber potato nails. This might be another thing I shouldn't have listed. I don't even remember where we got these, but this is the kind of thing that we get in a lot. I'm sure it was in a lot of stuff because we didn't buy these by themselves for this because we only sold them for $7.50. So yeah, I'm sure we have very little money in these. I'm sure it was part of a lot of other things that we picked up. It took about 6 months to sell. So I'm glad they're gonna move on now. This might have been a no-low, something you don't want to be on the lookout for. All right, this next thing, way back here. Pilgrim Minute Oats. So this one might surprise you. It surprised me. We found this at the bins just last week, and it's sold fast. It's sold in less than 48 hours for $39.99. Apparently this Pilgrim Oats is a company that was not in business for very long. Turned out that they couldn't compete with Quaker, I guess. And so this is from the 1950s. It's not in great condition, as you can tell, but there's hardly any of them available. There was one in the last 3 years that I found in doing my research that had sold on eBay for $35, I think. So I decided to go a little higher and listed it at $40, and what do you know? Trash to treasure. All right, back. Pulled several things off this shelf so far. Some typewriter keys. Let me tell you about these. Typewriter keys, you can't see it very good, that we had to cut off of the typewriter. So we were in Nashville in April, and we found a typewriter at a garage sale, and I like to buy typewriters, old heavy typewriters, but this one was in very poor condition. I think they wanted $20 for it, $25, I don't remember exactly, but definitely more than I was going to spend on a typewriter that wasn't in very good condition. But she wanted to get rid of it, and she said, you can have it for $10, and I'm like, I just don't think so, because I knew the condition was not great. It was big, it was heavy, we were out of town, and I'm walking away, I'm across the street, she yells, how about $5? So at that point I turned around. Thanks to Steven, who helped me that day carry it, because Kyle was already back in the truck. The typewriter was not in condition to sell, but you can cut these typewriter keys off. So I paid $5 for the typewriter, did haul it home. We sold these for $29.99, and it only took a few weeks. I just listed these recently. So it took me a while to get them listed, because it took me a while to get them cut off the typewriter, and I paid a grandson to do that for me. So I actually did spend a few more dollars. So don't overlook typewriters that have old, these are glass keys. These things will sell. All right, you guys, this next sale I need to tell you about. Look at all these dishes I've got here. This is the first one we're going to talk about. But I have to tell you about this deal we made for these dishes. If you don't know about this pattern, you should know. This is Franciscan ware. It says Franciscan on the bottom. The starburst pattern, and this is very collectible. People love this stuff. I mean, I love this stuff. Can't you see how cool that is? Definitely 1950s. Thank you to my friends, Paula and Lyle, my very good friends. They knew somebody who was clearing out an estate, a family friend, and their mother had this set and had like never used it. And they didn't want it for themselves. Even though my friends are resellers, they didn't want it for themselves. They knew I might be interested. I was very interested. I didn't even see this stuff before I bought it, which was a little scary for me, but I trusted my friend, and it was a friend of hers that was selling it. So I bought this sight unseen, 73 different pieces of this stuff. I paid up. We paid $750 for it. Now, that's over $10 a piece, and not all of them are pitchers. I mean, there's cups and saucers and plates and little plates and average type stuff, but then there's some really good stuff in there too. We did just a little bit of research, enough to know that we should be able to easily make our money back and then some. And I just picked this all up last week, got it all listed in 2 days, and so this weekend's sales were the first sales that I had on it. And this first picture sold for $79.90. If you take a look at So there's 73 pieces. We paid $750. So we roughly have just over $10 a piece in everything. I listed these things higher than, a little bit higher than what I was even seeing sold on some of them. Not all of them, on some of them a little bit higher, because this stuff, you guys, is super duper clean. Very nice, minty fresh. The plates don't have utensil marks. It is good stuff. You can't get it any better than this. So I might as well list high because I can come down. I can't get more after it's sold. So the crazy thing is that I sold several pieces this weekend. This is just the first one, and I got full price on everything that I sold. I sold a total of 15 of the 73 pieces over the weekend, and I'm going to show them all to you now, just so that we can get this all out of the way. So this was the only sale on eBay, $79.99. So next I have this cereal bowl and this divided dish. These were both sold on Poshmark. These were two of my Poshmark sales, and the bowl sold for $32, and this divided dish sold for $36. So again, well above my $10 average cost per piece. So I'm doing okay, and we're just getting started. Cup and saucer is the next thing that sold, and this sold on Facebook Marketplace with shipping for $19 for the set. And I have had to start 10 of these sets. We'll probably make the least profit on these because if you consider an average cost of $10 per piece that we paid, this is 2 pieces. So technically we kind of have $20 in this, and I sold it for $20. So yeah, that doesn't make sense, but that's because there's a lot of other pieces that are higher dollar. So percentage wise, I don't know if that makes sense. But if I sell all 10 sets for $20, that's $200 up to $750. So it's all good. I do know what I'm doing, I think. So that was all of the pieces that I have to ship. I have 11 more pieces that sold local on Facebook Marketplace. So I had a lady contact me, wanted to give a couple pieces to a friend as a gift. And so she bought them from me. I dropped them off to her. She gave them to her friend the next day. Her friend then wanted to buy more from me. And so she's buying several pieces. Her friend then is going to come get them for her and decided to buy another piece for her to give her at a later date. So 11 pieces total going out Facebook Marketplace. I'll throw them up here real quick so you can see them all. $435 total for these pieces on Facebook Marketplace local with no fees. I've already made $602 back of the $750 spent, and I still have 58 pieces left to sell. Some of them are some really great pieces. I have a coffee pot all by itself listed for $300. There are these really cool crescent plates. Let me show you. I have these listed very high because they are very rare, hard to find, and they do sell usually for $125 each on average. I'm excited about these sales. I'm excited about this set. It's not something you find very often. It is a sought after set. So I'm thankful to have the opportunity to sell it. It's fun. It's fun finding things that move fast that people want. And that brings me to the topic of the day of when it's okay to pay up. Like I said, we paid $750 for these dishes. That felt like a lot of money. So how do you decide how much you can spend on a particular item like these dishes? We estimated, doing a rough estimate, we estimated that we'd probably be able to get around $2,500 for them. And if we get $2,500 for them, we're gonna have to pay fees on that. We're gonna be paying to ship. We're gonna have the shipping supplies. We're gonna have to pay taxes on our profit. So you have to have some margin. And how much margin do you need? I think everybody's gonna have a different comfort level, but typically when we're buying lower dollar stuff, we want to make a minimum of 5 times our money. So if we buy something for $2, it has to sell for at least $10. And we don't even want to sell $10 items very often anymore. We're trying not to list lower dollar stuff. We're trying to start listing mostly items that are $20 and above. We want our average sales price to be around $25 or higher. I will sell some lower dollar stuff. I think you do need to have some lower dollar stuff in your store. Maybe not, I don't know. I still do. But yeah, $2 into $10, that's 5 times my money, but that's not where I really want to be. If I would really rather be making 10 times my money on that item, pick it up for $2 and sell it for $20, then it becomes worth my time. But as you get into more valuable items, you may not be able to make 10 times your money on it. Like that dishes for $750, I'm not going to make $7,500 on it. I may, if things go well and I keep selling things at the prices I have them listed for, I might make $3,000 on it. But even that isn't 5 times my money. But that's okay when you're selling higher dollar items and they're selling fast. I'm already almost back to break even on those dishes, and I'm sure I will be at break even this week, and then everything else will be pure profit, and I've had them less than a week. So timing is a factor to consider. How much you want to spend on something, how long you're willing to sit on it, how much space it's going to take. But 5 to 10 times our money is kind of our general rule, unless it's higher dollar items. If it's higher dollar items, we will pay up for that bigger profit margin and faster turnaround time. Now, we do buy some higher dollar items that don't have a fast turnaround time because, let's face it, higher dollar items don't sell as often. There aren't as many people making high dollar purchases as there are people making low dollar purchases. But I'm okay most of the time waiting for that money to come in. I mean, I don't want to wait a year. I don't want to buy something I'm sitting a year on, but sometimes I have done that. And I think it's okay to wait a year occasionally. I mean, would you put $100 out and sit on it for a year if you knew you were going to make $1,000? I would. However, I might not want to put out $100 if I'm only going to make $200, $250, even $300 if it's going to take that long. I don't know. Everybody's going to be different in their comfort level. I would rather things sell faster, but when it comes to making those bigger dollars, I've heard the saying, would you rather have a fast nickel or a slow dime? And so, what would you rather have? I mean, a fast nickel's great, but sometimes those slow dimes are kind of nice when they're, big dimes. One of the things you have to factor into your purchase prices is you make your money on the buy. You're only there is a ceiling on how much you can sell something for. And so you do want to negotiate the best deal you can. I mean, you want to be fair. I'm not saying that you should take advantage of people. I don't think that I took advantage of this person buying these dishes for $750. I think that was a good, solid offer. I'm the one that's taking the chance on shipping them. I'm the one taking the chance on them getting broken. I have to do all the packing. I have to do all the listing. I have to do all the shipping. I have to pay for those supplies. I have to pay the fees to sell them all. So some people might say, oh, if they're worth that much, you should have paid more. Well, there are other things to consider. And those are all things I have to consider. Like I said, I'm going to have to pay taxes on my net profit as well. So when you're deciding how much to spend, be sure you're allowing yourself plenty of margin to pay for your fees, to pay for your shipping supplies, to pay for your time in listing it, and to set aside money for taxes. But then it's okay to pay up for good stuff. Good stuff is always going to be good stuff. And I would much rather have an inventory room filled with good stuff worth money than a lot of what's in here right now. A lot of what's in here right now I probably should not have listed. It'll sell or I'll give it away, but it's a constant learning process. I'm always learning. I hope that you're learning a little bit from what I'm sharing. I kind of feel like I'm all over the place, but my thoughts are running rampant in my head. But let's just say it's okay to pay up if you can support that purchase with the comps, with the sold comps. Pay up, make that money. Make sure you have plenty of money set aside in your business account to go make those $750 purchases when they present themselves. It's a process. When we first started doing this, I wouldn't have been able to spend that $750. I wouldn't have had that much money that I could just go do that. Once upon a time, I was on a very tight budget. We were raising children, and we were a one-income family, and my eBay sales were just a supplement to our income and not a full-time thing. And I wouldn't have had $750 to go spend. I couldn't have done it. But I'm in a place now where I can. So try to allow yourself, leave money in your business account, let it grow some so that you have a reserve to make the good purchases when they present themselves. You'll definitely thank yourself later if you leave yourself some of that money to make those big purchases. They will present themselves. You never know when that next opportunity is going to be there. So prepare for it. And happy hunting in the meantime. All right, let's come back down to earth now and talk about more of my normal types of sales. We just picked up this pickleball paddle at the bins last week, along with that Pilgrim Oats can. This one was a borderline item. Kyle thought we were going to get more for it. I saw too many of them that were brand new as options for good money, so I didn't list this for a ton of money, and I actually sold this on Poshmark for $12, and I was surprised that it sold on Poshmark. Pickleball paddle on Poshmark, who would have thought? But we probably have a couple bucks in it, so $2 into $12, not superb, but it did sell very quickly. All right, my next item is a clothing item, also from Poshmark. All right, these boots, suede leather boots, are another item we picked up in Nashville, just like those typewriter keys from earlier. These were at a garage sale where everything was $1. So I only paid $1 for these, and I sold them for $25 on Poshmark. Thank you for that $1 garage sale. This sale not only is 25 times my money, but it also hits that threshold of where we want our average sales price to be. This helps offset the sales of the pickleball paddle and those potato nails. All right, this next item is right behind me. These vases, we got these at a estate sale buyout back in March, and we have hardly any money in them, probably 50 cents total in the both of them. Maybe I shouldn't have listed them, maybe I should have donated them, because I only sold for $12, but they were just too pretty for me to give away. I don't know. Sometimes I'm a sucker. It took a few months to sell. I mean, good return on my money, but was it a good investment of my time? I don't know, probably not. Okay, this next sale is not actually my own personal sale, but it's a North Face hat. My grandson picked this up at a garage sale and wanted to resell it and asked me if I would do it for him, help him do it. I made him take the pictures, and it sold for $12, so he's gonna make a little bit of money, and it's gonna make him very happy, and that makes me happy. All right, up here on this top shelf, we've got a couple of blow molds, and we sold this one today. So this is an Empire vintage blow mold. It does not have its light. I picked this up off of Whatnot, actually. So we know somebody locally that has a store that we like to pick at, and they started selling on Whatnot. This came up for sale. Gave $6.53 with tax. It didn't have to pay shipping since he's local. And it sold for $60 on Facebook Marketplace with shipping. So I'll be shipping this guy out today. So that was 10 times my money and well over my $25 average sales price that I'd like. That helps the rest of my sales too today. All right, down here. Oh my goodness, this is a big bag. I don't even know what all this is. I showed you earlier that electronic gauge, amp gauge, meter, whatever it was, Kyle got at the estate sale online auction where he bought the whole area of parts and pieces and whatever. This was one of those things. So these, we called these capacitors. These are electronic parts. I don't know what all's in here. We took a picture and said this, you know, you get what you get. Look at the pictures. And I listed it for $50. This is like a 5-pound bag of stuff. And it sold for $40 on Facebook Marketplace with shipping also. The guy messaged me and asked me if I'd take 40. Again, we have hardly any money in this, probably $1. So this also helps my average sales price and makes me happy. All right, this sold on Etsy. It's a little lipstick holder. I picked this up at a garage sale a few months ago for $1. Thought it was gonna sell better. Oftentimes this gold filigree type stuff will sell well. So I bought it without looking and it doesn't sell all that well. But I did get $12 for it on Etsy. So it's a good return on my money. Just not as much as I would have hoped or liked. All right, got a cream and sugar dish here. Usually we keep pretty good records about things. We bought these, according to my inventory spreadsheet, we bought these at an online auction with a bunch of mugs. However, I don't know why we bought them. I don't know what was in the lot that we wanted, because I don't think this was what we wanted. This isn't something highly valuable. We sold these for $19.99 on Etsy, and it didn't take all that long. It took a few months, but I just know that I wouldn't have bid on this lot for these things, and I don't remember what the mugs were. I didn't keep very good records, but according to what I wrote down, we paid $4 for the lot. So I don't know what else there was. I don't know where it is. Maybe it was all donated. Yeah, I could improve in some areas. I do a pretty good job of keeping track of most things, but it's hard to remember everything and where it came from and what I got it with and where I got it and when I got it and how much I paid for it. So I do the best I can. Anyway, so even if I paid $4 for just for these, I did sell it for $19.99. I will still make some money, just not big bucks. I'm not quite as happy about this one. That does bring us to the end of what sold for the weekend, which means that I need to go back because I gotta get this all out of here before noon today, and it's 9:30. So I am thankful for a good weekend. Total sales without shipping before fees were like $970 for just the weekend. That's a good solid weekend, and I'm happy about that. I'm happy. Thank you guys for being here. I really do hope that you gain something from watching. I would love to learn from you. I'd also like to help you learn more, so let me know what you'd like to know. And until next time, my friends, happy picking.